how they can buy a house. So posting content that teaches the home buyer how you can buy a house and what the current market is like, if it's possible. So I utilize the platform as a way to educate home buyers and home sellers, but also to show that I'm the top agent in the market. So that kind of steers my content creation.
Wanna cause no problems. I just wanna live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense. Me and my dons ain't mobsters, but you know when you see imposters, we know how to read them faces, same way you know how to read them comments. If you wanna talk, let's talk, but around here, make sure you walk and your talk is constant.
Well, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Death to Vanilla podcast, where we talk about boldly marketing, doing things differently so that your business stands out. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, there are so many content creators, so many pieces of content, so many platforms to be on that it can be genuinely hard to actually get noticed. And let's be honest, people who don't know about your business can't do business with you. And so I feel like any little tidbit and information that we get from our guests can be really helpful in helping your business stand out. And so today I have Sarah on the show, and Sarah's on the show because, well, she's a real estate agent. And I don't know about you, but a lot of the content that I see from real estate agents tends to be kind of around the same thing, which is like, come look at this home that I have for sale. And I feel like there's so much more that they could be doing. And when I went on Sarah's Instagram page, I saw a completely different strategy and kind of content that she was making. So I wanted her to come on the show and explain a little bit about a little behind the scenes about what it is she's doing. And she's actually got some pretty exciting things coming up that I think any real estate agents who are listening will be excited to hear about. So I'll allow you to do a little braggalicious introduction to yourself, but just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got into real estate, and unpack a little bit of that backstory.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Stephen. I really appreciate it. So a little bit about me, my background. I went to school to be an educator. So I was a teacher for many years, and then I got my master's degree in leadership and then became an administrator at a K-8 school. So my background was not real estate in that regard, but I did have a dad growing up who flipped houses. And so I felt like I, knew a lot about that process, investing specifically, how investing in real estate early on can change somebody's life. I lived it firsthand. My family lived it firsthand. So I felt a passion for real estate, even as a teacher. And so it was somewhat of a risk for me to just kind of jump from being an administrator to real estate. It was kind of a leap of faith, but it was the best decision of my life. And I do feel like my teaching and administration background has really led me to being, one of, a very successful real estate agent now. So, that's a little bit about me. And I haven't been into real estate. I haven't been a realtor for a long time. I'm working on 2 years. So I'm fairly new, but I've had such success my first year that and like I said, a teacher at heart. Just love to teach other agents how I made 6 figures my first year in real estate.
Well, I think that's super awesome because from what I've heard, at least in the Arizona market, is like most real estate agents will never hit 6 figures. So I think even if you're only 2 years old when it comes to this industry, at the end of the day, it's like the success, the proof is in the pudding, right? So whatever you have to share, I'm sure is going to be super helpful. So question 1, why do you think people actually follow real estate agents? And the reason I ask that question is because it informs what kind of content you make, right? Because a lot of times I see content is basically like MLS listings, like this house is for sale, and that's cool. If that's the reason people follow you, is to find out what homes you're selling. I'd love to hear your take on why it is that people follow you and other real estate agents on social media.
Yeah. So I don't think people follow real estate agents to know what houses are for sale. They could simply look on Google and go on Zillow, go on Realtor.com and see these houses are available. So that's a huge mindset shift that I think realtors need to make when it comes to what content they need to be producing. So if they're posting pictures of the house that they have for sale, or if they're posting, a photo of an open house, it's not going to get a lot of engagement. And it's because people are not interested in that. People follow real estate agents to know the person that they are, because if I'm a home buyer or I'm a home seller and this is a huge purchase, I'm going to want to work with somebody who I trust and who I like. Especially if I'm a home buyer and I'm going to be working with this person very personally, probably telling them my financial situation. It's somebody that they have to like, but also trust. So somebody who's going to follow a realtor really wants to know the person who they are, which I think is a main reason why, for me and the content that I post, I hardly, if not ever, post pictures of houses that I have, and that I have coming up, because the audience or the consumer doesn't want to know that. I mean, I can simply share that in a story, but what they want to know is how they can buy a house. So posting content that teaches the home buyer how you can buy a house and what the current market is like, if it's possible. So I utilize the platform as a way to educate home buyers and home sellers, but also to show that I'm the top agent in the market. So that kind of steers my content creation.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's something, like, I literally wanted you on the show so I could have like a fact check on that, right? Because at the end of the day, my thought is like, okay, I feel like people follow them, the real estate agents, to learn about them as human beings, and that makes sense. And in fact, it's so funny that you mention about like the financial end of things, which I thought about when I was buying a home, but I don't necessarily think about it from like a content production side or trust building. But like, I know like family members who are real estate agents, and I didn't go with them simply because like I don't want them to look at my bank statements, like whether it's because they're really good, which was not true at the time, or because they're really bad. And it's like, you don't want that like gossiping to happen in the family. Not that that would have happened, but you just never know. So that makes a total sense. It's like you're really exposing like levels of your life that you don't do with a normal human being. Like, oh, can I see your last paycheck? Not a question I've asked anyone recently. So that makes a lot of sense. So then, because you're educating, but you're also building trust, I think that leads perfectly into the next question I really had for you, which is, what is your process for creating content? Like, is there some like research that goes into it before you start, or like, how is it that you like really plan it out and create it so that it connects with people and builds that trust that you're looking to have?
So before I even got into real estate, I knew I needed to have a strategy of how to get leads, because any book that I read or podcast that I listened to, the main concern for a realtor is prospecting. How are you going to get leads? Because a lot of times realtors will work really hard on the transactions that they're currently under, and then forget to prospect. And then the next month they're left with panic and frantic because they don't have any deals in the works.
Right.
So, and so that's why real estate is up and down, right? Like, it's almost like an adrenaline rush when you have all of these deals working for you, but then it's like, once those are over, you're like, crap, I don't have anything anymore. Like, how am I going to pay my mortgage or, do this or that? So,
well, and that's a classic solopreneur problem. Like, even if you're a plumber, you have the same problem where it's like, oh, I got to go do the work. Oh, shoot, I'm done with the work. How am I going to get more work? It's a classic problem. And I don't feel like people should feel bad about it. They should just prepare for it. So anyways, go ahead. Keep going.
So I just knew that I wanted to have social media be a pillar in my business. So when you think of like prospecting, you have various avenues as a realtor that you can get leads. You can get leads through open houses, you can get leads through door knocking, you could get leads through calling for sale by owners, and you can get leads with social media. And I did not want a door knock. That scared the crap out of me. I didn't want to pick up, cold call and say, hey, do you want, me to help you? So I chose social media as a huge pillar of me getting leads. And I did a whole bunch of research. Like, I think it's so important that you understand the pain points of your audience. So yeah, I researched what are the fears that home buyers and home sellers have. So I go back to researching and thinking about what are the fears that a home buyer or a home seller would have. And when you list out all of the things that they might be scared of, nervous about, or don't know about, that's your content right there. You have things to be talking about when you just think of the pain points of a home buyer or of a home seller, or even of a for sale by owner. So that's kind of what I did to think of, what is it that I want to communicate on my social media. And then I just, I niched down. So I personally love working with first-time home buyers. So I think that my content is geared towards first-time home buyers. So I talk a lot about how to get pre-approved. Not a lot of first-time home buyers know that. What are down payment assistance programs? Again, that might be a concern that a first-time home buyer might have. So if you think of your niche, which I think is super, super important, then you can start brainstorming all of their pain points, and that's essentially your content.
No, that's awesome. And I feel like, so I ended up clicking on your like little bio link on your Instagram, and you actually have like further like articles and education materials on that down payment assistance program, which I would imagine with inflation, how it is right now, that's actually a pretty important concept to be talking about. So is that like, I don't know, not to throw around like too technical term, but is that more like middle of the funnel type content that you're doing on there with that like extra deep content, or how's that working in your strategy?
So I think, there's people that will come to my page, who don't really know me. And I think that when they look at my feed or the reels that I make or the stories that I post, they're getting to know me. It's like dating. They're like, okay, what is she about? Does she look like she's someone who's honest? Does she look like somebody who works hard? Is she someone who I'm going to choose to be my agent over somebody else? So somebody like that who maybe was, referred by someone who follows me or a friend of mine, they're going to look at me and look at my profile and get the social, credibility, so to speak, and then choose to want to work with me. And those are the kind of people who I feel would, click on that link and see, oh, wow, she knows a lot about down payment assistance programs. She even has a downloadable. She has a free first-time home buyer guide. I don't know anything about buying a home, so I'm going to click it and download it. And later down the line, I'm going to remember that she was the one who helped me with the thought process of even buying a house. And I'm going to use her as my agent because she's the expert. So, I think having that as a landing page is really important because another huge source of getting leads for realtors is referrals. And so if somebody refers me to their coworker or to their friend or to their family member, the first thing they're going to do is look me up. Right? Look me up on social media, look me up on Google, and then they're going to start looking to see if in fact I am someone who they can entrust to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on for a purchase.
Right. Well, it was so funny. Like I remember when like Instagram first came out, and I was first on it, which was too long ago. Don't want to talk about it. I would always look at their website to see if they're professional, and I would check out at their Instagram to see if they were cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Like that's how I always thought about it, because it was like, okay, like I feel like the Instagram side is the more human side, and the website was more just like, straight and narrow. So that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? And I can't like when I like self-reflect on some of my like social media habits, like I don't click on links to people that I haven't like skimmed their content yet. And so that's a great strategy to realize that, like, hey, people are going to find out about me first, learn about me, see if they even like me, and then click on my link. And that's when I can start moving them down that funnel of saying, like, hey, like, I'm actually credible and an expert. I know what I'm talking about, and getting them thinking about you all the time, which I think is key. So I love that concept.
Wanna cause no problems. I just wanna live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense. Me and my dons ain't mobsters, but you know when you see imposters, we know how to read them faces, same way you know how to read them comments. If you wanna talk, let's talk, but around here, make sure you walk and your talk is constant.